Hello students, in the previous video we have discussed about the Hess law of constant heat summation and its application. We have learned how to solve the numericals on the Hess law. Today we are going to discuss about the spontaneity of a reaction and the factors which decides the spontaneity of the reaction. So first of all, we need to understand which process is called as the spontaneous process, or which reaction is called as the spontaneous reaction. The process which takes place on its own without the intervention of foreign factor or agency is called a spontaneous process. Means the process which takes place on its own. It doesn't need any foreign factor to take place. Such a type of reaction is called as the spontaneous reaction or spontaneous process. All natural processes are spontaneous. They occur on their own. They don't need any other factors to happen. They take place on their own. Such a type of processes or reactions are called as spontaneous processes or spontaneous reactions. The spontaneous process have a natural tendency to occur and do not require any external influence for their occurrence. For their occurrence, they do not need any external factors, any external agency is not required for them to occur. A reverse of any spontaneous process is non-spontaneous. Reverse of any spontaneous process is non-spontaneous. Suppose the process is spontaneous in the forward direction. Definitely that reaction will be non-spontaneous in the reverse direction. Example will take spontaneous process from our day-to-day life. Water falls from high altitude to low altitude. This is the spontaneous. It takes place on its own. But the reverse is not possible on its own. It needs help of some external agency, external factors. External influence is required to happen the reverse process. Tea kept in a cup at the room temperature cools on its own because for this cooling we are not doing anything. It cools when it is kept at the room temperature, it cools on its own. But the reverse, that is, a cup of tea placed at room temperature, it doesn't become hot on its own. To become hot, we need to heat that tea. So heating is the foreign factor here. It does not get heated on its own. We need to heat it. So this is the foreign factor. But the cooling, just to you keep it at a room temperature, it cools after some time on its own. There is no need to cool it. After some time, it cools completely. So these are few examples from the day-to-day life. Let us see about the factors. The spontaneous process tend to occur in a direction which leads to equilibrium. So these spontaneous processes occur in a particular direction only. They choose the direction in which they acquire equilibrium. they choose the direction in which they acquire equilibrium. So they tend to occur in a direction which leads to equilibrium. In that particular direction only they occur. The direction in which equilibrium can be achieved, that direction is only possible for the spontaneous process to take place. Why some processes are spontaneous in a particular direction only? The question arises to us, why these processes occurs in a particular direction? What is the driving force? So it is very necessary to understand it in detail. So let us come to the energy and spontaneity. So the relationship between the energy and the spontaneity. So what type of relation is there? We will discuss in detail. The spontaneous reaction takes place in a direction in which energy of the system is lowered. The spontaneous processes takes place in a direction in which the energy is lowered. When does the energy gets lowered? When that particular system, when that particular process or when that particular reaction releases the energy out of it. Releases the energy out of it, then only lowering of the energy of that system is possible. And the reaction in which energy is released, such a type of reactions are called as the exothermic reactions. So we can say that exothermic reactions are spontaneous, because there is a criteria given that spontaneous process takes place in a direction in which the energy is lowered, and lowering of energy is possible by release of energy, and the processes which releases energy are called as the exothermic. So we can conclude that exothermic reactions are spontaneous reactions. Example, the reaction between NaOH and HCl. When NaOH and HCl are mixed, they immediately react on their own. You don't need to heat it, you don't need to put some other conditions on it. It takes place on its own. But it is exothermic, minus 57 kilojoule per mole of energy gets released, so it is spontaneous. So the exothermic reactions are spontaneous. Okay? But there are some processes in the nature which are endothermic, but they are found to be spontaneous. For example, ice. Ice melts spontaneously above 0 degrees Celsius by absorbing heat from the surrounding. As it absorbs the heat from the surrounding, it is endothermic. But it is spontaneous. It is our everyday observation that if you keep some ice cubes in the plate, that ice melts on its own. So it is spontaneous only. But it is endothermic. It is absorbing. For its fusion, it absorbs energy from the outside. Heat energy it absorbs from the surrounding. Then only it melts. Means this process is spontaneous, but it is endothermic. Similarly, NaCl dissolves spontaneously in water. This is the day-to-day observation. You put a few crystals of the NaCl in the water. That doesn't need stirring also. After some time you will find all the crystals of the NaCl dissolved in the water. Means it is spontaneous, because for its dissolution there is no need of any foreign factor. It dissolves on its own. But it dissolves with the absorption of heat from the surrounding. Means this is also endothermic. This process is also endothermic, as it absorbs the heat from the surrounding. But both these processes being endothermic, they are spontaneous. So here we cannot conclude that energy is the suitable factor to decide the spontaneity. So from energy alone, from the factor energy, we cannot decide the spontaneity of a process. We need some other factor to decide the spontaneity. Here a dissolution of NaCl example is given. This much amount of energy per mole gets absorbed, so it is endothermic, but it is spontaneous. So exothermic as well as endothermic processes are spontaneous. So energy is not the suitable criteria to decide the spontaneity. There must be some another factor which decides the spontaneity. So let us see about the another factor. Another factor we consider it as entropy. Let us see if it is suitable to decide the spontaneity of a process. To know about the entropy, consider the following processes. Two examples are given here. In the first, solid state water molecules in ice are arranged in a definite order. The particles of water in ice are orderly arranged. In a particular arrangement, they are placed. Second, when ice melts, this highly crystalline arrangements of water molecules collapse. When ice melts, means it converts into water definitely. This highly crystalline arrangements of water molecules collapse. These water molecules which are orderly arranged in the ice gets disordered. They become random. The molecules become free in the liquid state. An ordered state thus tends to become more disordered. The ordered state tends to become more disordered in the liquid state. So in the diagram, when ice is heated, it converts into liquid water, and liquid water when heated, it converts into gaseous water. So here the particles are orderly arranged. Here particles have become free. Here particles that become more distant from each other. So in the gaseous state, particles are more distant. So here randomness observed will be more definitely, as they are at the higher distance from each other. There will be very negligible attraction between the particles. So these particles can move anywhere in the available area. So the randomness observed will be more in the gaseous state. So when liquid water vaporizes, gaseous water molecules move freely and randomly in the available space. Less disordered state becomes highly disordered state. Here this is the less disordered, less random. Randomness is negligible, randomness is moderate, randomness is higher. Entropy is the measure of randomness or disorder. This is the definition of entropy. Entropy, it is the measure of randomness or disorder. It is denoted by capital S, and the change in entropy is denoted by delta S. Less the randomness, less is the entropy. Higher the randomness, higher is the entropy, because the entropy is a measure of randomness. It is the measure of randomness. It means it depends on the randomness. It measures how much randomness is there in the given state. So, less the randomness, less the entropy. Higher the randomness, higher is the entropy. Therefore, we can conclude that entropy is directly proportional to randomness. Means randomness increases, entropy increases, randomness decreases, entropy decreases. So, it is directly proportional to randomness. For a given substance, solid state is the state of minimum randomness or disorder. We know that in the solid state, particles are orderly arranged. In a particular fashion, they are arranged very systematically. They are tightly holded to each other. The attractive forces are higher in the particles, so they are tightly holded to each other, leads to the formation of orderly arranged. These are orderly arranged. Arrangement is ordered. So it is the state of less entropy. Particles do not move here and there. So it is the state of less entropy because the randomness is less. In the liquid state, randomness observed is moderate. Therefore, entropy is a moderate. Entropy is a measure of randomness. So as the randomness is moderate in the liquid state, entropy will be moderate. In the gaseous state is the more randomed state or disordered state because there is much more distance in the particles. Interparticle distances are much more. So the interparticle attractions are very negligible. The particles can move independently in the available space. So the randomness observed will be higher. So the entropy is higher in the gaseous state. So for a given substance, gaseous state is the state of higher entropy. And for a given substance, increase in entropy takes place moving from solid to gaseous state. Just now we have discussed, because when solid is heated, it converts to liquid state, and liquid state particles become little bit free compared to solid state, and when liquid state heated, it converts to gaseous state. In the gaseous state, particles become much more free. They are free to move individually here and there in the available space. So here the entropy randomness increases from solid to liquid and liquid to gas. So here entropy increases from solid to gaseous state. See here the dissolution of solid iodine crystals in water is given. Iodine crystals, the molecular state is there. So it is I2. When dissolved in the water, it gives aqueous iodine. Means iodine gets dissolved. It is the aqueous iodine. In the aqueous iodine, the molecules move randomly. Molecules of iodine move randomly because they are associated with the water molecules, and water molecules are little bit free to move. So they takes the iodine particles with them, and hence the iodine particles move in the available area. So these particles are not moving, but the aqueous particles of iodine are moving. So the randomness is observed when it is dissolved in the water. Dissolved iodine is disordered state than the solid iodine. When solid iodine dissolves in water, iodine molecules move randomly, thus disorder and hence entropy of the system increases. Entropy of the system is increases means delta S will be positive for the dissolution process. Delta S increases. In this case, it is disorder is more. In this case, disorder is less. Delta S is equal to final minus initial, and final is greater and initial is less, and the delta S will be in the positive. So change in entropy will be positive for this dissolution process because iodine molecules becomes little bit free compared to the solid iodine molecules. Another example is given: dissociation of hydrogen molecule into atoms. Hydrogen molecules, when dissociates, one particle gets converted into the two particles. So as the number of particles increase, 1 mole of H2 gas is converted into 2 hydrogen atoms. Larger disorder is associated with separated hydrogen atoms than the hydrogen molecules. One particle of hydrogen molecule has converted to 2 particles, that is 2 atomic hydrogens. As the number of particles increases, randomness increases and hence the entropy increases. So in the dissociation of hydrogen molecule, one particle has get converted into 2 particles. As the number of particles increases, entropy increases. So in this process also delta S is positive. Change in entropy for the dissociation of hydrogen molecule is positive. Quantitative definition of entropy is given here. This is important for the point of board examination. Entropy is a measure of molecular disorder or randomness. Just now we have discussed about it. An entropy change of a system is equal to the amount of heat transferred reversibly. Amount of heat transferred reversibly to it in a reversible manner, that is reversibly when it is transferred to that system, divided by the temperature in the Kelvin at which the transfer takes place. Entropy change of a system is equal to the amount of heat transferred to it in a reversible manner divided by the temperature in the Kelvin at which the transfer takes place. So it's a mathematical definition is given in this way: delta S is equal to Q reversible divided by T. T is in Kelvin, and heat when expressed in the joule, the unit of delta S will be joules per Kelvin. So this is important. Remember this in the MCQ. This can be asked. The meaning of that quantitative definition of entropy we need to understand. When heat is added to the system, the molecular motions increase. Just now we have studied solid state. Molecular motion is not there in the solid state. Molecules are tightly held because the gaseous, and in the gaseous state molecular motions are more because the attractive forces decreases when we heat it. So when heat is added to the system, the molecular motions increase due to increase of their kinetic energies. This results in increased molecular disorder. When heat is added, the system gets disordered, and thus the entropy of the system increases, and thus the entropy of the system also increases. As the disorder increases, entropy of the system increases. So change in entropy, that is delta S, is proportional to Q reversible. Q reversible is the heat added to the system. As we add the heat, the molecules become disordered and the entropy of the system increases. So it is proportional to the Q reversible. So delta S is equal to Q reversible divided by T. So delta S is directly proportional to Q reversible, it means, because as the heat increases, entropy increases. When heat is added, entropy increases. The effectiveness of the addition of heat to increase randomness depends on the temperature. The effectiveness of the addition of heat, the added heat is responsible to increase the randomness. Here we have discussed added heat is responsible to increase the randomness, but what is the effectiveness of the added heat in increasing temperature is very important. If a certain amount of heat is added to the system at higher temperature, if the system is already at higher temperature and heat is added into that, then the disorder caused is lesser, because as it is at higher temperature, it is already disordered state. Beyond that also, if we add some heat, it becomes a disorder, no doubt, but the disorder caused is lesser because it is already disordered, and the disorder caused is lesser than that caused by adding the same amount of heat to the system at lower temperature. Than caused by the addition of the same amount of heat to the system at lower temperature. Thus, delta S relates reciprocally to the temperature at which the heat is added. For example, what does it mean actually? Solid state is there and liquid state is there. solid state, it is the ordered state. Liquid state, disordered state. I am going to add 20 joule of heat to both the systems. 20 joule of heat to both the system. But solid is at 25 degrees Celsius. Solid is at 25 degrees Celsius and liquid is there at 50 degrees Celsius. And in this systems I am going to add 20 joule of heat. Means same amount of heat I am going to add in both the systems. This is the first system, this is the second system. First system has at lower temperature, second system is at higher temperature. The same amount of heat I am going to add in that. See here, at 25 degrees Celsius means this system is ordered state because the temperature is less. Here temperature is more, it means this system is disordered state. Already some disorder is more compared to this one because the temperature is higher. When we add same amount of heat into that, the disordered increased or observed will be more in the solid state because it was disordered initially. When I am adding the heat from outside, the disorder increased is more, observed disorder is more. Here already it is disordered. It becomes a disorder after adding heat, but the disorder observed is less. So, the temperature is there in the denominator. So, the entropy increased is inversely proportional to the temperature. So, delta S is inversely proportional to the temperature. Higher system at higher temperature, the entropy is less. System in the higher temperature, entropy is less. System at lower temperature, entropy will be more. Increase in entropy will be more. So delta S, change in entropy, is inversely proportional to the temperature and directly proportional to the heat added to that system reversibly. In the system which is at lower temperature, when heat is added, the observed entropy change is less than the system which is at higher temperature. Okay. So here we have discussed about the spontaneous process, entropy and spontaneity we have discussed in this. Energy and spontaneity and entropy and spontaneity. Here this chapter is over. Thank you.